Before I start for the day, I had a conversation with someone the other day who said that when they're on a video call with someone or watching a video, they always look in the background when they have a bookshelf to see what kind of books they read. So, in light of that, I tilted my camera ever so slightly so that you guys can pick up the books that I have on my bookshelf and judge accordingly. Let me know what you think. Okay, so this subject just popped up the other day and it's kind of been stuck on my mind. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and make a video out of it. So here goes a rogue video, undeveloped and raw. This may very well be the video that makes all my subscribers jump ship and thus end my short and not even illustrious YouTube career. I am going to talk about the angry atheist. Because that's what we all are, right? We're angry. In fact, I'm downright pissed off. Hey all, Laura here, unapologetic and yet, in this episode, not unabrasive. And today I am going to talk about my angry atheist phase. What is an angry atheist? Are all atheists angry? What makes them so angry? Is this because they don't have Jesus? But first, some business. Please take a moment to subscribe to my channel and like this video. Otherwise, I will get very angry. If you have any questions or comments, please jot them down in the comment section below. I love interacting with everyone so far on my channel, and it's still small enough that I can actually do that. Angry atheist is a term I didn't even know existed until I heard it on Jimmy Snow's channel, Dear Mr. Atheist, which is now just Jimmy Snow, so easy peasy. His channel is linked down in the description below. Since I don't remember exactly which video it's on, I urge you to just go ahead and watch them all. Every single one. But after this video, watch mine first, then go binge on Jimmy Snow. Come to think of it, he may have also said it on the line, so I'll link that down below as well. As soon as I heard his explanation on what an angry atheist is, I realized that, holy shit, I was one of them. What's worse is I had to wonder whether or not I still was one. When I left Christianity, I still very much loved the religion and the people. I just didn't find the Bible that compatible with reality. I didn't feel any hatred or resentment toward my fellow Christians, and I understood why they believed what they believed. So it was all good. But then something started to happen. The more and more I was challenged and interrogated by a few particular friends and family members, the more that resentment grew. On top of that, the more and more that I tried to reason with them and explain myself and defend myself, the more that I wanted them to understand why I was where I was. As often happens when people try to change each other's minds, I grew aggravated at the process. Now, don't worry. I know that everyone sees everything slightly differently. I know that you can't change a person's mind. It's that whole you can lead a horse to water thing. But at the same time, the flaws in Christianity seem so patently obvious to me, and their responses were so underwhelmingly non-convincing that I just couldn't comprehend why they would want to hold on to their beliefs. I mean, it's so easy for a non-believer to look at a believer, or a believer of one faith to look at a believer of another faith, or what have you, and say you just don't get it. So even as they were telling me that I just didn't understand, I was also telling them that they just didn't understand. But still, I wasn't an angry atheist. Oh, no. I was a very peaceful, water off a duck's back Muslim. Just kidding. I was a pain in the ass argumentative Muslim, at least to those people who kept challenging me with Bible verses and asking me to defend this Muslim teaching or explain why I reject that Christian teaching. We really had a bad dynamic going. So by the time that I left Islam, I was a full-fledged, angry, non-religious person who still believed in a God but not in a religion. It really took me a while to let go of that God concept. And when I did, and I fully embraced that atheism is indeed a term that applies to me, I didn't even know what an angry atheist was. But since then, let me tell you, I have met a few. And in watching Jimmy's video, I have to admit, I was one. And we suck. But why? Why are we all so angry? Why do we seem to hate religious people so much? Well, I can't give you an answer to why everyone is angry. Partially because they're not. But for those of us that do go through that angry stage, I think it would be a really fascinating study to kind of get down to some of the reasons why. But I can tell you from anecdotal evidence why some of us are angry. I have heard people relate it to things like the way that they were treated by their religious community or their family members. I've heard stories of the pain, the suffering, and the abuse that was endured within the confines of their religious communities. I have also heard people talk about how exasperating it is that religious teachings are so entrenched in people's minds as truth without any doubt whatsoever that it is really hard to engage in conversations with those individuals. They have their barricades up, defenses at the ready, and conversations just feel like a battlefield. I have heard people be just so sick and tired of having that stuff just crammed down their throats and watching it get crammed down the throats of others. Public prayer, politicians invoking God in their speeches, it really can be a lot, and it can even seem relentless. So after so long, it can really start to piss people off. For me, I couldn't tell you exactly what made me angry, but I suspect that the conversations that I had went a long way towards tainting the religious community as a whole in my eyes. But then there was also this sort of a frustrated sadness feeling, this feeling of exasperation at the knowledge that some people are just going to continue to believe something even if you think that they're wrong, even if you think that it's harmful. Now, I have to be real here for a second. This is not an atheist problem. This is a human being problem. Christians feel it too, as do all sorts of other people from all sorts of cultural and religious backgrounds. When we do have that feeling that we get something and others don't, there's this sort of a threshold after which that starts to feel really, really shitty. That's when you get Christians saying things like, "You're just denying the word of God." In other words, people, religious or not, start to begin to feel like this lack of conversion to their point is, deliberately obtuse. Yeah, I like that. Deliberately obtuse. That's how I felt about the conversations that I would have about belief with the still believers. And it was frustrating. But that was wrong of me. Okay, so I was an angry atheist. In other words, I was an atheist who was angry, but it passed eventually. And as I processed my emotions and talked about it and did my fair share of personal reflection, I found myself getting angry less and less often. Of course, there are still things that I am sensitive to, but I'm not angry overall anymore. I want to have dialogues with people again. I want to disagree, but to build bridges between them. I want to treat others with respect, even if they don't necessarily respect me. Not in that turn the other cheek kind of way, because abuse does not fly with this one. But it is okay that we disagree, and I'm not going to be a jerk about it. I have to decide what kind of person I want to be, and angry just isn't it. I mean, I still get angry. Hey, I'm an emotional being after all, but angry isn't really who I am. Okay, so here I'm going to blow your mind. First, I admitted I was an angry atheist, and that I'd met a few, and that we're out there. So clearly there is such a thing as one. But are we all angry? Is that part of being an atheist? No, I argue it's part of being a human being, and, how do I say this? Atheists are human. I know, crazy, right? I was researching something completely different for my anthropology research, and I stumbled across a paper titled "The Myth of the Angry Atheist." It concludes after 7 studies, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 7, the following thing. First, people believe that atheists are angrier than believers. Second, that there was no actual correlation found between atheism and increased anger. The conclusion is that the angry atheist is a stereotype, but it's not consistent with reality. If you'd like to read the paper, which I highly recommend, I added it down in the references below. Here's something interesting to think about, though. If atheists are no angrier than theists, why do theists perceive atheists as being so angry? Could it be based on the interactions that they have with each other? If so, is the theist's approach triggering? Could the content of the conversation trigger anger? Or possibly stress, exasperation, frustration, all of which can be misconstrued as anger? I don't know. I can only guess based on what I've seen and what I've experienced. Even in my angry atheist phase, it's not like I was running around angry all the stinking time. It was when I would have specific kinds of conversations, usually with a specific kind of person. Stress and trauma that were left over from my interactions with those few individuals that I mentioned earlier left some pretty powerful emotional triggers. And when I would have conversations with theists, I would get angry when they didn't see really a need to be angry. Anyone who observed me during those conversations would certainly have pegged me as angry. But there was a lot of underlying hurt and frustration there that others failed to see. So, if it doesn't make you angry, does atheism make you a better person? No, I mean, it really doesn't. You need more than just atheism to make you a better person. There are some really horrid religious people out there, like really downright terrible people. Well, atheism has those too, which is really unfortunate because, like any social label, we tend to get stereotyped according to the worst among us. You know, like all Christians are hypocrites or all Muslims are terrorists. The masses are typically defined by the few, the noisy, assholey few. So if that's you, dude, just be quiet. You aren't doing us any favors. I mean, I know we're not a coherent group like a chess club or a bowling team, but you still do speak for the rest of us, and frankly, you're making me look bad. So this whole conversation is a result of some reflection that I've been doing over the last few days, and it was inspired by some exposure online this week to some angry atheists, and the realization that I see this a lot on social media, and I've probably contributed to it. No, who am I kidding? I've definitely contributed to it. And it sucks. Anger has a time, and it has a place, and it has a context. So I'm not saying don't be angry, and I'm not saying hide your emotions or your feelings. I mean, look, respond in anger if you want to. It's your game, you play it. But me, I'm not going to. Not just on behalf of the would-be recipients of my anger, but for me. Because I'm selfish, and being angry is just too exhausting. And also, those of you who have encountered an angry atheist, maybe think, what's making them so angry? There's probably something more going on behind that angry facade, and it's probably worthy of some compassion too. We're talking wounds that need to be healed and bad experiences that people have had that they're now reacting based off of. Atheists can be angry, but no more than anybody else. We have some understandably angry people among us, and we have some just plain assholes. Religious people, you have assholes too, so give us a break. Maybe we can all work together and teach people on all sides how not to be dicks. Yeah, that would be nice. Okay, so really that's all I have to say for now. Before I say goodbye, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Or you can subscribe and then like this video. Hey, whatever works. I will see you next time, and until then, remember, it's okay to keep asking questions. Bye!